I'm your host, Vulpi, and you're watching Vulpi's Snapshot Review. In the case of this being released after the April GSM, hi, I hope the GSM went well. In the case of this being released before the April GSM, God help you. In this week's edition of Vulpi's Snapshot Review, we'll be going over the impressive new 20W15A and responding to the community's answers to last week's question. While we don't have any side shenanigans to cover this week, we do have some rather long-winded responses from our favourite loudmouth windbags. Not that I would know anything about being one of those. No, sir. Vulpi's a brief wordsmith, which is why this introduction is only 100-something words. Man, those are supposed to be brief in that, aren't they? Before I embarrass myself more than I usually do, let's get right into it. 20W15A came out this week on April 8th, 2020. 20W15A is a massive thing, especially in regards to the things that the MRT actually gives a toss about. Instead of a long drawn-out intro, I'll start from the top with the new blocks added in this update. Remember when I said basalt was a good road material? Remember when I was excited for its potential? That was before Blackstone became a thing. Basalt, as a result of this new block, has been blown so far out of the water it's now floating around the space world. This block, as you can tell based on the name, is black. Specifically, asphalt black. It comes in 3 varieties. Blackstone, your standard crunchy variant, polished Blackstone, your slightly less crunchy, better maintained variant, and chiseled Blackstone, which is useless for road. I guess you could maybe use it for manhole coverings. Polished Blackstone also has some extra features in terms of the ability to craft it into buttons and pressure plates. Keep in mind that the lift plugin may not accept the new button, as it previously has had issues with the new buttons in the past. Also, here's a road I built. As you can see, Blackstone rates road out of 10 on the roadometer. Oh, remember when I said the 3 varieties of Blackstone? Well, that was for the block itself. The non-chiseled variants of the Blackstone have a slab, stairs, and wall version. Do you hear that sound of running water, folks? It's a sound of the entire MRT pissing themselves in excitement. I'm right there with you, as I wet myself 3 minutes ago. A new variant of nether bricks were added in the form of cracked nether bricks in case you wanted that. Now, onto something other than Blackstone. Psych! I've got more Blackstone to cover. Polished Blackstone bricks have been added with both the cracked flavour and the non-cracked flavour. Tasty. I will admit these blocks are a tad weird. The best comparison I can think of is bricks made of coal. These bricks could be used to add more texture to black surfaces such as roads, death spires, and possibly railway tunnels, but I don't know. These aren't as handy as the other Blackstone things, admittedly. Like other types of Blackstone, polished Blackstone, the non-cracked one, has a slab, stairs, and wall variety. What's black and white and played all over? This snapshot, of course. Contrasting the Blackstone, a new variety of quartz was added, presenting quartz bricks. This block here is great for adding texture to anything using quartz, which is most of the MRT. I personally want to see how staff will use it on future MRT lines. Unfortunately, there's no slab or stairs version of this block as of yet, but there's still time before the update comes out, so that could change. The last block to be added is the Soul Campfire. It's a campfire but with blue flame. Funky, eh? Alright, that's all for new blocks, but the features are far from over yet. Next up, we've got the new banner pattern. This banner pattern, named the Piglin banner pattern, looks either like a pig's nose or a power outlet. I personally think it's a power outlet. A new biome was added to the game. Unfortunately, it's nether only, and thus we won't be getting it. This biome is the Basalt Delta, a volcanic biome in the nether where ash rains from the skies. It features massive amounts of basalt, and the roadiest block that ever eroded, Blackstone. It also houses those weird-looking strider things. Perhaps their proximity to Blackstone is why they look like they were hit by a steamroller. 3 new music tracks have been added to the game. These ones aren't actually made by C418 but by Lena Raine. So Puffball is certainly moved with violence if I don't mention the fact that Lena Raine composed Celeste's music. Please don't hurt me. I should also note that the music you're hearing currently is the new Nether music. Unfortunately, the base game Nether music doesn't have my incredible voice narrating the entire whole time. Such a shame. Also, some new ambient was added for that new biome. You know, the one that we'll never experience. Lastly, some new tags were added that affect mob behavior and other things. Campfires have a tag now which tells bees, parrots and turtles to avoid them. All of the other tags are pretty much useless outside of survival. That's all for the features. This update was largely feature heavy, and thus the changes section and unfortunately bug fix sections are rather empty. Despite this, let's cover what little was added that actually does stuff with the server. Dispensers got a massive amount of changes this update, so let's do a little rapid fire round listing their changes. Dispensers can now put saddles on pigs rather than tamed horses. Dispensers can now put horse armor on horses. Dispensers can now put carpets on tamed llamas. Dispensers can now put chests on tamed llamas, tamed donkeys and tamed mules. Okay, so the other two changes really don't do much for us and aren't really worth mentioning, as I doubt they'll come into play. Next up, we've got reason 2 as to why I love this snapshot so fucking much. Walls will now connect to the bottom and sides of glass panes and iron bars, which is a wonderful change. This, on top of the earlier change that removed gaps with stacked walls, makes walls far more versatile and overall better to use, and most importantly, less annoying. Mobs will now avoid walking on magma blocks and lit campfires, meaning you have some really good potential for mob torture devices if you decide to do that. I don't condone it, but if you do it, I want video footage for me to use. That's all for changes. Usually at this part I'd gush over the bug fixes, but 0 of them affect 1.15 or any prior version. At least they're cleaning up 1.16, I suppose. So that's all for this meaty snapshot. We'll be back after commercial break, at which point I'll read out community answers and complain about 1.15's performance some more. See you then.
Penso che un sogno così non ritorni mai più. Mi dipingevo le mani e la faccia di blu. Poi d'improvviso venivo dal vento rapita e incominciavo a volare nel cielo infinito.
MCR! On the line, on the go!
Good day, I'm Kitty Catwoman231 in the MBS newsroom. Here's what's happening. The 6th MRT Vision Screenshot Contest is underway. Today was the deadline to join the contest, and participants have until Friday to submit their screenshots. MBS will be broadcasting the semifinals ceremony in Arcadia live on April 25th, as well as the finals ceremony on May 9th. Minecraft Yoshi 26 has announced the return of The Mole, a serial game show in which a group of players work through a series of challenges towards a prize to be won by a single winner. But one player is secretly designated as The Mole and works to silently sabotage the player's efforts. Players have to complete quizzes every episode to test their knowledge of who the mole is, and the person who does the worst on the quiz is eliminated at the end of each episode. The Mole has been on hiatus since 2018. Signups to participate are open. The coronavirus pandemic continues with millions of confirmed cases worldwide and over 100,000 deaths. North America and Europe, where the bulk of MRT members reside, have been hard hit by the pandemic, and the MRT is facing increased activity on weekdays as members have been told to stay home to combat the spread of the disease. As the server performance continues to suffer on Zeta, Frumple has opened the beta server running a new build of Paper Spigot and some updated plugins. It is hoped these updates could improve server performance once brought onto the main server. And the general staff meeting is tomorrow at 7 p.m. GMT. You can find the agenda for the meeting in the GSM Agenda channel in Discord. MBS will be live with the GSM tomorrow at 7 p.m. GMT. That's the latest from MBS News. Follow us for more news at twitter.com/news_MBS. From MBS News in Central City, I'm Kitty Catwoman231. Now back to Vulpi Snapshot Review.
And we're back. Last week's question was, aside from the obvious more optimization, you Swedish skullfucks, what do you hope is added, changed, or fixed to 1.16 that hasn't been done already? We received 6 answers to this question. Going alphabetically, let's start with Mr. Shockeypants' answer. Mr. Shockeypants writes, I rarely play survival, so to be honest, I'm much more interested in the new block types than in other mechanics. Quartz walls, and especially smooth quartz walls, are at the top of my personal wish list, he said. Quartz walls, eh? You've got taste. I'm happy we've got quartz bricks as Snapshot, but quartz walls would be fantastic to have. Next up, Cookie46910 sent in the following. I would like to see new food options and new game rules for map makers / creative people. New overworld mobs would be great, like deer or something like that. That's awfully survival focused, Cookie. I doubt you'll get your wishes update, but perhaps the mountains update may add something like deer. Echo Hugh, when badgered for an interview, answered with the following. I'd ideally like to see concrete stairs and slabs, but I don't see that happening. Those netherite stairs they hinted at would be cool, he replied. Concrete stairs and slabs seem incredibly useful for the MRT to have, but I can't see them ever being added. Netherite stairs, however, you sort of got your wish with when they added polished blackstone stairs. So Puffball also had something to say. Apart from my current obsession with the Bloomful mod and wisteria trees in that mod, which are unlikely to get villainous as a nether update, I just want some new more blocks to play around with. If there would be any more fancy blocks for nether tree blocks and especially doors to play around with, that would be neat too. I think you've definitely gotten your wish with 1.16 so far. With the way things are going as well, if there's another snapshot or two, I am expecting another fantastical block to be added. The amazing conductor had a short response in the form of Netherite Railroad, and that is all. After asking him some more, he elaborated by saying Netherite Railroad ties would be a way to add more fun than wooden ties. This seems like a purely cosmetic thing, so I can't disagree with you there. It seems really pointless to do that sort of thing. Lastly, we've got Wipeout 111's horrifyingly long answer. Here goes. As you didn't get many responses last week, I would like the following to be read out in full. If Mojang should fix anything with the game, I believe that when you walk inside villagers, you should see their nose stretches into their heads. It will add the philosophical touch the game really needs. Without a reason for this to happen, discussion will pop up with the exact reason, which reasonably will not be revealed unless a specific reason occurs, unless there is no reasonable reason, or if the creator reasons at all. I feel the best way to sum up my thinking in a mere few sentences would be the following. Oh God, there's a part 2. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more, and by sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of slow long for life, for who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of unworthy takes, when he himself might quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have to fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with a pale cast of thought. Enterprises of great pith and moment disregard their currents, turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia, nymph in thy orisons, be all my sins remembered. Reasonably, the reasons reasoned here state with proper reasoning that the reasons he is so reasonably provided rationalize the reasons he put forth for villager noses reasonably extending inside their head. Reason. Now if you excuse me, I'm off to go defenestrate myself for unreasonably defiling the English language. That's all for the answers, folks. This week's question is the following. Hopping ahead to the 1.17 update, what do you think you'll add and change that affects the MRT? Please submit reasonable answers within a reasonable time frame to my Discord, which can be reached at eris #0075. I would love to hear your reasonable and unreasonable answers to this reasonable question. And that's all for the 3rd episode. I thank you all for joining me yet again and hope you find sufficient reason to join me for the next one. I'll be back next week with a more reasonably sized episode, a new Snapshot to cover, and significantly less Shakespeare. Ciao and happy honkings. Fox, out.